Happy Halloween, everybody! This is John St. Baptiste, and we are doing something slightly different today. I am not putting up a music video. I'm actually going to be reading to you. Back in the day, long time ago, we used to have an event every Halloween. I'd get together with friends of mine, and we would start off the evening, which turned into what became the Red, White, and Blue Party, which I'll explain in a moment. We would start off the evening with everyone sitting around, and I would read The Rime of the Ancient Mariner by Samuel Taylor Coleridge. Uh, to me, this is the best creepy piece of romantic literature that's ever been written, and that's how we would start the night off. The reason it was called the Red, White, and Blue Party, I have to be a little elusive, is opposed to just explaining things, but it involved a case of red wine, a number of things that are blue that grow in cow feces, and a lot of white stuff that comes generally from Colombia or Nicaragua. Not going to elaborate on that. I'm sure you can figure those things out, but I don't want this video to get taken down, so I'm not going to elaborate. And so I would always read the Rime of the Ancient Mariner, which is a piece of fell in love with the minute I found it, the first time that I ever read it. And not too long after that, I found the version of it that Iron Maiden did, which this video is probably going to be a bit longer than that song, A, because I have an introduction and I have to say goodbye to all of you at the end, but also because I don't narrate quite as quickly as Bruce Dickinson. So, we're taking this. This is from the 1985 printing of Adventures in English Literature. I think I'm outside of the statute of limitations, so, you know what? I totally fucking stole this. This is actually my copy from school. Still has my name in it and everything. And, yeah, I liked it so well that I just had to keep my own copy. So I'm going to read this. This video has a number of firsts. For one thing, it's going to be my first premiere. So I'll be sitting in the chat talking to you, even though I'm shooting this beforehand. Also, this will be my first video that is edited, just because this is a poem in 7 parts, and I want to make sure each part comes across as well as possible. I don't want to sit and make you listen to my verbal mistakes and things like that. I do have one other edited video. If you look back, I released it on April 1st of this year, and it was done by my amazing friend Johnny B. Crazy. He did all the editing, so this is going to be the first video that I actually do any editing in, but really by editing, I'm just hitting the pause button. So we're about to get to the poem. A little background on this. Samuel Taylor Coleridge was such an influential Romantic era writer, and a lot of the idea of this poem he came up with William Wordsworth. But Wordsworth was like, hey, you write it. You've got this in your head. I'm just giving you some suggestions. 2 of the suggestions that Wordsworth put in, though, are extremely important. One is the albatross, and the other involves dead sailors. So we're about to look into some undead stuff, but first, If you're enjoying this, please drop down and like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I'm looking forward to being able to talk to you while I'm not talking. So I hope that we have a number of people in the chat. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and get on to this poem. The Rime of the Ancient Mariner by Samuel Taylor Coleridge. Part the first. It is an ancient mariner, and he stoppeth one of three. By thy long grey beard and glittering eye, now wherefore stoppest me? The bridegroom's doors are open wide, and I am next of kin. The guests are met, the feast is set. Mayst hear ye the merry din. He holds him with his skinny hand. There was a ship, quoth he. Hold off, unhand me, grey-beard loon. Eftsoons his hand dropped he. He holds him with his glittering eye, the wedding guest stood still, and listens like a 3 years child, the mariner at his will. The wedding guest sat on a stone, he cannot choose but hear. And thus spake on the ancient man, the bright-eyed mariner. The ship was cheered, the harbor cleared, merrily did we drop. Below the kirk, below the hill, below the lighthouse top. The sun came up upon the left, out of the sea came he. And he shone bright, and on the right went down into the sea. Higher and higher every day, till over the mast at noon, the wedding guest here bore his breast, for he heard the loud bassoon. The bride hath paced into the hall, red as a rose is she. Nodding their heads before her goes the merry minstrelsy. The wedding guest he beat his breast, yet he cannot choose but hear. And thus spake to him that ancient man, the bright-eyed mariner. And now the storm blast came, and he was tyrannous and strong, and struck with his o'ertaking wings and chased us south along. With sloping masts and dipping prow, as who pursued with yell and blow, still treads the shadow of his foe the forward hands at his head. The ship drove fast, loud roared the blast, and southward aye we fled. And now there came both mist and snow, and it grew wondrous cold. And ice mast high came floating by, as green as emerald. And through the drifts, the snowy cliffs, did send a dismal sheen, nor shapes, nor men, nor beasts we ken. The ice was all between. The ice was here, the ice was there, the ice was all around. It cracked and growled and roared and howled, like noises in a swound. At length did cross an albatross. Thorough the fog it came, as if it had been a Christian soul. We hailed it in God's name. It ate the food it ne'er had eat, and round it flew. The ice did split in a thunder fit. The helmsman steered us through. And good south wind sprung up behind, the albatross did follow, and every day for food or play came to the mariner's hollow. In mist or cloud or mast or shroud, it perched for vespers 9. Whilst all the night through fog smoke white glimmered in the white moonshine. God save thee, ancient mariner, from the fiends that plague thee thus. Why look'st thou so? With my crossbow I shot the albatross. Part the second. The sun now rose upon the right. Out of the sea came he. Still hid in mist, and on the left went down into the sea. And the good south wind still blew behind, but no sweet bird did follow, nor any day for food or play came to the mariner's hollow. And I had done a hellish thing, and it would work 'em woe. For all averred, I'd kill the bird that made the breeze to blow. Ah, wretch, said they, the bird to slay who made the breeze to blow. Nor dim nor red like God's own head the glorious sun upcast. Then all averred I'd kill the bird that brought the fog and mist. 'Twas right, said they, such birds to slay to bring the fog and mist. The fair breeze blew, the white foam flew, the furrow followed free. We were the first that ever burst into that silent sea. Down dropped the breeze, the sails dropped down. 'Twas sad as sad could be, and we did speak only to break the silence of the sea. All in a hot and copper sky, the bloody sun at noon, right up above the mast did stand, no bigger than the moon. Day after day, day after day, we struck, nor breath nor motion, as idle as a painted ship upon a painted ocean. Water, water everywhere, and all the boards did shrink. Water, water everywhere, and not a drop to drink. The very deep did rot, O Christ, that ever this should be. Yes, slimy things did crawl with legs upon the slimy sea. About, and reel and rout, the death fires danced at night. The water, like a witch's oils, burnt green and blue and white. And some in dreams assured were the spirit that plagued us so. 9 fathom deep he'd swallowed us from the land of mist and snow. And every tongue through utter drought was withered at the root. We could not speak, no more than if our lungs had choked with soot. Ah, well a day with evil looks had I from old and young. Instead of the cross, the albatross around my neck was hung. Part the third. There passed a weary time, each throat was parched and glazed each eye. A weary time, how glazed each weary eye. When looking westward I beheld something in the sky. At first it seemed a little speck, and then it seemed a mist. It moved and took at last a certain shape I wist. A speck, a mist, a shape I wist, and still it neared and neared, as if it dodged the water spire. It plunged and tacked and veered. With throats unslaked, with black lips baked, we could nor laugh nor wail. Through utter drought all dumb we stood. I bit my arm, I sucked the blood, and cried, "A sail, a sail!" With throats unslaked and black lips baked, agape they heard me call, "Gramercy!" They for joy did grin, and all their breath they drew in, as they were drinking all. "See, see," I cried, "she tacks no more. Hither to work us wheel. Without a breeze, without a tide, she steadies the upright keel." The western wave was all aflame, the day was well nigh done. Almost upon the western wave rested the broad bright sun. What that strange shape drove suddenly betwixt us and the sun. And straight the sun was flecked with bars. Heaven's mother send us grace. As if through a dungeon grate appeared the broad and burning face. Alas, thought I, and my heart beat loud, how fast she nears and nears. Are these her sails that glance the sun, like restless gossameres? Are those her ribs through which the sun did peer in through the grate? And is that woman all her crew, and is that death? And are there two? Is death the woman's mate? Her lips were red, her look was free. Her locks were yellow as gold. Her skin was white as leprosy, a nightmare life in death was she, who thicks man's blood with cold. And naked Hulk along came, and twain were casting dice. The game is done, I've won, I've won. quoth she, and whistles thrice. The sun's rim dips, the stars rush out, and one stride comes to dark. With fair-haired whisper o'er the sea, off shot the spectre's bark. We listened and looked sideways up, fear at my heart as at a cup. My lifeblood seemed to sip. The stars were dim and thick as night. The steersman's face by his lamp gleamed white. For the sails the dew did trim. The clomb above the eastern bar, the horned moon, the one bright star within the nether tip. One after one, by star-dogged moon, too quick to groan or sigh, each turned his face with a ghastly pang, and cursed me with his eye. 4 times 50 living men, and I heard nor sigh nor groan. With a heavy thump and a lifeless lump, they dropped down one by one. The souls did from their bodies fly, they fled to bliss or woe, and every soul that passed me by, like the whiz of my crossbow. Part the 4th. I fear thee, ancient mariner. I fear thy skinny hand, and thou art long and lank and brown, and ribbed like the sand. I fear thee and thy glittering eye, the skinny hands are brown. Fear not, O wedding guest. This body drop not down. Alone, alone, all alone. Alone on a wide, wide sea. And never a saint took pity on my soul in agony. The many men so beautiful, and they all dead did lie. And 1,000 slimy things lived on, and so did I. I looked upon the rotting sea and drew my eyes away. I looked upon the rotting deck, and there the dead men lay. I looked to heaven and tried to pray, but ere ever prayer had gushed, a wicked whisper came and paid, my heart is dry as dust. I closed my lids, I kept them close, the balls like pulses beat. For the sky and the sea and sky, lay like a load upon my weary eye, and the dead were at my feet. The cold sweat melted from their limbs, nor rot nor reek did they. Their look with which they looked on me had never passed away. An orphan's curse would drag to hell the spirit from on high. But oh, more horrible than that is the curse of a dead man's eye. 7 days, 7 nights, I saw that curse, and yet I could not die. The moving moon went up to the sky, and nowhere did abide. Softly she was going up, and a star or two beside. Her beams bemocked this sultry main, like April hoarfrost spread. But where the ship's huge shadow lay, the charmed water burned away, and still an awful red. Beyond the shadow of the ship, I watched the water snakes. They moved in tracks and shining white, and when they roared with elvish light, fell off in hoary flakes. Within the shadow of the ship, I watched the rich attire, blue, glossy green, and velvet black, that coiled and swam, and at every track was a flash of golden fire. Oh, happy living things, no tongue their beauty might declare. A spring of love gushed from my heart. I blessed them unaware. Sure my kind saint took pity on me, and I blessed them unaware. The selfsame moment I could pray, and from my neck so free, the albatross fell off and sank like lead into the sea. Part the 5th. Oh, sleep, it is a gentle thing, beloved from pole to pole. To Mary Queen the praise be given. She sent my gentle sleep to heaven, and slid into my soul. The silly buckets on the deck that had so long remained, I dreamt that they were filled with dew, and when I woke it rained. My lips were wet, my throat was cold, My garments all were dank. Sure, I had drunken in my dreams, and still my body drank. I moved and could not feel my limbs. I was so light, almost. I thought that I had died in sleep, and was a blessed ghost. And soon I heard a roaring wind, and did not come near, but with its sound it shook the sails, that were so thin and sere. The upper air burst into light, 100 fire flags sheen. To and fro they hurried about, and to and fro and in and out, and wan stars danced between. And the coming wind did roar more loud, and the sails did high like sledge. And the rain poured down from one black cloud, the moon was at its edge. The thick black cloud was cleft and still, the moon was at its side. Like water shot from some high crag, the lightning fell with narrow jag, the river steep and wide. The loud wind never reached the ship, yet now the ship moved on. Beneath the lightning and the moon, the dead men gave a groan. They groaned and stirred, they all uprose, never spake nor moved their eyes. It had been strange, even in a dream, to have seen those dead men's rise. The helmsman steered, the ship moved on, yet ne'er a breeze up blew. The mariners all gan work the ropes, where they weren't wont to do. They raised their limbs like lifeless tools. We were a ghastly crew. The body of my brother's son stood by me knee to knee. The body and I pulled up on a rope, and he said not to me, I fear the ancient mariner. Be calm, thou wedding guest. 'Twas not these souls that fled in pain, which to their courses came again, but a troop of spirits blessed. For when it dawned, they dropped their arms and clustered round the mast. Sweet sounds rose slowly through their mouths, and from their bodies passed. Around flew each sweet sound, then darted to the sun. Slowly the sounds came back again, now mixed, now one by one. Sometimes dropping from the sky I heard a skylark sing. Sometimes all little birds that are, how they seemed till the sea and air, with their sweet jargoning. And now 'twas like all instruments, now like a lonely flute, and now it is an angel's song that makes the heavens mute. It ceased, yet still the sails made on, a pleasant noise till noon. The noise like a hidden brook in the leafy mouth of June, and to the sleeping woods at night singeth quiet tune. Till noon we quietly sailed on, yet ne'er a breeze did breathe. Slowly and smoothly went the ship, moved onward from beneath. Under the keel 9 fathom deep from the land of mist and snow, that spirit slid, and it was he that made the ship to go. The sails at noon left off their tune, and the ship stood still also. The sun right up above the mast fixed her to the ocean, and in a minute she 'gan stir with a short and easy motion, backwards and forwards half her length with short and easy motion. Then like upon a horse let go, she made a sudden bound. It flung the blood into my head, and I fell down and swound. How long the same fit within I lay, I have not to declare, but ere my living life returned, I heard, and my soul discerned, 2 voices in the air. Is it he, quoth one? Is that the man? By him who died on a cross? With a cruel bow he laid full low that harmless albatross. The spirit who bideth by himself in the land of mist and snow, he loved the bird and loved the man who shot him with his bow. Another was a softer voice, as soft as the honey dew. Quoth he, that man hath penance done, and penance more will do. Part the 6th. But tell me, speak again. A soft response renewing. What makes that ship to drive so fast? What is the ocean doing? Still as a slave before his lord, the ocean hath no blast. His bright eye most silently up to the moon is cast. If he may know which way to go, for she guides him smooth or grim. See, brother, see how graciously she looks down on him. But why drives on that ship so fast, without a wave or wind? The air is cut away before, and closes from behind. Fly, brother, fly, more high, or we shall be belated. For slow and slow that ship will go, when the mariner's trance is baited. I woke, and we were sailing on, as in a gentle weather. 'Twas night, calm night, the moon was high. The dead men stood together. All stood together on the deck, in the charnel dungeon fitter, and fixed it in their stony eyes, that the moon did glitter. The pang, the curse, with which they died had never passed away, and I could not draw my eyes from theirs, nor turn to them and pray. And now the spell was snapped once more. I viewed the ocean green, and looked far forth, yet little saw of what else was to be seen. Like one that on a handsome road doth walk in fear and dread, and having one turns round walks on, and turns no more his head, because he knows a frightful fiend doth close behind him tread. But soon there breathed a wind on me, nor sound nor motion made. Its path was not upon the sea, in ripple or in shade. It raised my hair, it fanned my cheek like meadow gale of spring. It mingled strangely with my fears, and yet it felt like a welcoming. Swiftly flew the ship, yet she sailed softly too. Sweetly blew the breeze. On me alone it blew. Oh, dream of joy, is this indeed the lighthouse top I see? Is this the hill? Is this the kirk? Is this my own country? We drifted o'er the harbor bar, and I with sobs did pray, Oh, let me wake, O God, or let me sleep away. The harbor bay was clear as glass, so smoothly was it strewn, and on the bay the moonlight lay the shadow of the moon. The rock shone bright, the kirk no less, that stands above the rock. The moonlight steeped in silentness, the steady weathercock. And the bay was white with silent light, till rising from the same, full many shapes that shadows were, and crimson colors came. A little distance from the prow those crimson shadows were. I turned my eyes upon the deck. Oh Christ, what saw I there? Each corse lay flat, lifeless and flat, and by the holy rood, a man all light, a seraph man. On every corse there stood a seraph band, each waved his hand. It was a heavenly sight. They stood as signals to the land, each one a lovely light. The seraph hand, each waved his hand. No voice did they impart. No voice, but oh, the silence sank like music on my heart. But soon I heard the dash of oars. I heard the pilot's cheer. I heard was the perforce away, and I saw the boat appear. The pilot and the pilot's boy, I heard them coming fast. Dear Lord in heaven! It was joy the dead men could not blast. I saw a third, I heard his voice. It was a hermit good. He singeth loud his godly hymns, and he makes it in the wood. He shrived my soul, he'll wash away the albatross's blood. This hermit good lives in the wood, which slopes down to the sea. how loudly his sweet voice he rears. He loves to talk with mariners, to come to fair country. He kneels at morn and noon and eve, and hath cushion plump. It is the moss that wholly hides the rotted old oak stump. The skiff boat neared, I heard them talk. Why, this is strange, I trow. Where are those lights, so many and fair, that signal made but now? Strange be my faith, the hermit said, and they answered not our cheer. The planks look warped, see those sails, how thin they are and sere. I never saw like them, unless perchance it were. Brown skeletons of leaves that lag my forest brook along, when the ivy tod is heavy with snow, the owlet wolfs, and the wolf below, that eats the she-wolf's young. Dear Lord, it had this fiendish look, the pilot made reply. I am afeard, push on, said the hermit cheerily. The boat came closer to the ship, but nor I spake nor stirred. The boat came close beneath the ship. A sound was heard. Under the water it rumbled on, still louder and more dread. It reached the ship, it split the hay, the ship went down like lead. Stunned by that loud and dreadful sound which sky and ocean smote, like one that hath been 7 days drowned, my body lay afloat. But swift as dreams myself I found within the pilot's boat. Upon the whirl where sank the ship, the boat spun round and round, and all was still, save that hill was telling of the sound. I moved my lips, the pilot shrieked, and fell down in a fit. The holy hermit raised his eyes and prayed where he did sit. I took the oars, the pilot's boy, who now doth crazy go, laughed loud and long, and all the while his eyes went to and fro. Ha ha, quoth he, full plain I see. The devil knows how to row. And now all in my own country I stood upon firm land. The hermit stepped forth from his boat, and scarcely he could stand. Oh, shrieve me, holy man! The hermit crossed his brow. Say quick, quoth he, I bid thee say, what manner of man art thou? Forthwith his frame of mind was wrenched with woeful agony, which forced me to begin my tale, and then it left me free. Since then at an uncertain hour that agony returns, until my ghastly tale was told, the heart within me burns. I pass like night from land to land, I have strange power of speech. That moment that his face I see, I know the man that must hear me. To him my tale I teach. What loud uproar bursts from the door, the wedding guests are there. But in the garden bower the bride, and the bridesmaids singing are. And hark the little vesper bell, which biddeth me to prayer. O wedding guest, the soul hath been alone on a wide, wide sea. So lonely 'twas that God himself scarce seemed there to be. O sweeter than the marriage feast, 'tis sweeter far to me, to walk together to the kirk, with goodly company. To walk together to the kirk, and all together pray, while each to his great Father bends, old men and babes and loving friends, and youths and maidens gay. Farewell, farewell, but this I tell, for thee, thou wedding guest. He prayeth well who loveth well both man and bird and beast. He prayeth best who loveth best all things both great and small. For the dear God who loveth us, he made and loveth all. The mariner whose eye was bright, whose beard was aged with hoar, is gone, and now the wedding guests turn to the bridegroom's door. He went like one that hath been stunned, and is of sense forlorn, a sadder and a wiser man. He rose tomorrow's morn. Thank you for joining me. I hope you have enjoyed this. I will be in the chat to talk to you about this poem or my channel or whatever you want to talk about. And yeah, this is a tradition that I started out years ago. So happy Halloween, everybody! If you enjoyed this, please drop down, like, share, subscribe, post a comment, and tell me what you think. And in the meantime, please, if you would be so kind, PLUR, have a happy Halloween, be excellent to one another, and party on.